What is up, YouTube? It's your boy Alex here from Team Generations, and today we are here with something very unique and different, brought to you actually by my buddy Dawson from Team Alchemy. This is going to be something called Hero Flare.
Hello, nice to meet you. I'm Dawson from Team Alchemy. I did pilot this deck. It was built as a collaborative effort between me and some of the other team members on Team Alchemy. Shout out to Alec. He was the one who brought up the idea of the spicy thing, and then we worked out ratios, and here we go. Girly Dolly and Mega Flare. Two very unlikely combinations. The idea of the deck inside of this Hero Flare build is that we are trying to get as many copies of Girly Dolly out on the board so we could guard 45k using one card from hand or using an interceptor, while using the extreme value of Mega Flare, generating an additional Excel marker due to the reride and also getting additional drive checks. So it's very important to understand that we need to draw a bunch of cards so we can get as many of the Girly Dollies as we can, while at the same time making sure that we are playing properly, since we lose half of our matchups to removal. But whenever we play against some of the big hitters, which is why we built this, such as Gurguit, or even Prisms if they were still inside their prime, Girly Dolly is a nasty beast. So let's get a little bit into the ratios. Okay, so starting us off inside of this Hero Flare abomination is our 4 copies of Ultimate Riser Mega Flare. For those of you who might be new to seeing this card, since you've never probably played against this, Ultimate Riser Mega Flare is a Grade 3 12k Vanguard for Nova Grapplers. It has the first ability of being able to restand your Grade 2 Riser when it attacks by CBing 2 and resting it, but it restands, so it's completely fine. It's how we're able to get a little bit more of our attack pressure going on. And then the second effect, which is our big value part, is that we're able to re-ride the Grade 2 Riser that we do play inside of this deck. It gets an additional drive check out of it, since it will be able to attack with no drive penalty. And then at the end of turn, we re-ride the Mega Flare, meaning that we will generate that extra Excel 2 marker, meaning that we will be drawing an additional card. So that is 2 additional cards off that secondary effect, along with another attack. And just to show us where it goes, let's look at the Grade 2. Ultimate Riser Dual Flare. Ultimate Riser Dual Flare is one of our best attackers in our deck, but it's not the best attacker. We'll get to that shortly. Dual Flare's effect is that if you have no standing front row rear guards, it gains plus 3k attack for each of your opponent's Vanguard's grades. It's really strong in terms of being able to cap it off, but usually your opponent finds it defensive out there, so it's kind of just missing it. But when it hits, it hits. It's always pretty nice. It forces this card out of their hand. And then Auto RC, when at the end of the battle it attacked, you could put it into your soul. You give your Mega Flare, in this case, plus 5k, and if you have no face-up cards in your damage zone, you counter charge 1. This is extremely important considering that we need CB1 for Mega Flare's effect. So it's overall pretty good. It still gets the plus 3k per opponent's Vanguard grade during the re-ride phase, so it's overall, you need to see one Dual Flare and one of your Mega Flares, or else you're not really being able to play the engine. So it's kind of hard, but it's really good when it pays off. So now we'll move on to the heroes. Okay, so now getting into the hero part of it, making it the Hero Flare. Let's talk about our win con. It is 4 copies of Girly Dolly. Girly Dolly is a Grade 3 12k. On Vanguard and RC, if there are 5 or more heroes on RC, all of your Guardians get plus 10k. So this stacks with itself, of course, meaning that if you have 1 out, it's 10 for every card that you guard with from hand or intercept or anything on your guard circle. The second one makes it 20k, 30k, and 40k, so on and so forth. It's really strong considering that instead of some of the big decks up there, we're going to continue poking fun at Gurguit. Gurguit loves to have a lot of very high power, multiple attacks, being able to call them out throughout the duration of the turn, which is actually a round 1 matchup that we'll talk about probably a bit later. Being able to guard using 1 card from hand and basically make your opponent sigh regret from being able to play against you is pretty fun. So we just want to make sure that we are always seeing our Girly Dollies. We have a piece inside the Grade 2 lineup that we'll be able to fetch out. We'll definitely talk about that a bit later. We have one more Grade 3 that we run. It is Miss Splendor. Miss Splendor is again a Grade 3 12k unit. on VCRC, whenever one of your heroes attacks, until end of battle your opponent cannot intercept, and if you have more rear guards than your opponent, the unit that attacks gets plus 3k. There are a lot of grade 2s out on the board for Gurgurit when they're finished up with their combo. Wonder Ezel is one of the big notable ones. Usually they'll have their, not their Perseus, but their Agla Veils instead of hand, so you don't really care about that much, but it does come up that first part of the effect, so it is pretty good. And also the plus 3k allows like Girly Dolly, Miss Splendor, any of your grade 2s able to hit force numbers, so you're able to poke out them pretty early. We run one copy of it because we do have a card that searches out grade 3s straight from the deck and calls them out. So when it comes up, it's great. If you have extra CB, you want to be sure to go into this. But if you need the Girly Dollies, again, so that we can hit our win condition, definitely go into Girly Dolly. Moving on to the grade 2s, we run 4 copies of Stylish Hustler. Blech. Stylish Hustler is a grade 2 9k with the hero tag, which is important for this deck since we need 5 or more heroes on VC and RC. On VC and RC, it protects our rear guards from retire abilities by being able to Soul Blast 1 and add them back to hand. This is especially important since we need our Girly Dollies to never hit the drop zone or our damage, or else we will never be able to grab them. In addition, on RC, which is what makes us our strongest attacker in the deck, when it attacks, it gets plus 3k until end of battle for each card in our damage zone. So at 5 damage, we're getting plus 15k based off of his ability alone. At 3, it's plus 9k. Pretty good numbers overall. We also get the additional plus 3k whenever we attack with Miss Splendor on board. So pretty nice unit. If you're able to mulligan for it a bit early, it's pretty good. You don't feel bad riding it because there's no real good grade 2 rides in this deck. You're just trying to hit your funny numbers so that you could get to the grade 3 and have as many of the Girly Dollies as possible. Next up, we have the grade 2 Brute the Beast. Brute the Beast is a 9k grade 2. You'll usually see this on your rearguard circle. Do not ride this unit. It has the ability of Act RC once per turn. If your Vanguard is grade 3 or greater, you could Counterblast 2, search your deck for up to 1 grade 3, call it to rearguard circle, and shuffle your deck. Notable targets being Miss Splendor and, of course, Girly Dolly. If you already have a low number of Girly Dollies, definitely go and search them out using it. If you have a high number of heroes already and you have a high number of Girly Dollies, you could definitely go for a Miss Splendor there, or if you're just not going to be able to hit 5 heroes, go for the Miss Splendor. This is a big MVP. It also guards for 5k when you intercept with it. It also has intercept, excuse me, so the 5k that it has on it is kind of irrelevant when you're guarding for 35 instead. So overall, good unit. It's not usually sitting on your board, but it will be used on your board. Now moving on to the grade 1s, we run 4 copies of Rocket Hammer Man. Rocket Hammer Man is a grade 1 8k. It is a hero, which is important to note because its effect is garbage. RC, when it boosts a hero, you Soul Blast 1, and this unit gets plus 5k until end of turn. So it is a 13k booster, which is pretty great, but we don't care about that. We only care about it saying hero on it. So it's another name, it stays on the board, not really much to talk about with it. Then we also have 4 copies of Rolling Extender. It is another grade 1 with hero tag, 8k base. Continuous RC, it gets plus 5k during our turn. And in addition, it cannot attack rear guards and it cannot boost units that are attacking rear guards. So what I did actually, instead of round 3 against Anger Blader, on the grade 1 turn, I called out 2 copies of this and they just swung 13. It's a good aggro tool. We don't care if our opponent gets early CB since we're going to be stalling them out anyways, so they're theoretically going to get it. Whatever damage we could boost out early is fantastic. Also, 13k, not bad. Not bad for a boost number, especially since we don't need to Soul Blast 1 for this. Then finally for the grade 1s, Extreme Battler Arshid. It's your grade 3 searcher from top 5. Priority being if you don't have a Mega Flare in hand, you grab that Mega Flare. Girly Dolly next, and then finally Miss Splendor. And then for our triggers, We run 3 copies of the Draw PG with 1 copy of the Crit Sentinel. Don't be fooled. We don't actually run a lot of crits in this deck. We actually run 11 draws. The idea of running the 1 Crit Sentinel is because it is, of course, a 30k guard, which is always very nice. But specifically the idea of, if we show this Crit Sentinel at any point in time and our opponent hasn't seen all the draws, they think we're running crits as well. We are not. We are very piece reliant, so we are running as many draws as we possibly can. Also, it never shipped on time, so that's a secret between me and you. But we are actually running Heal Guardians since we want to live. Being able to see these out instead of our opening mulligan is actually not a bad idea. I was able to win against a Gurgrit matchup today using actually 2 of the Heal Guardians effects, so it was extremely helpful and helped me protect out so I could get to the Girly Dolly. But that's the entire deck. That's Hero Flare. Again, just to recap, you're looking for your pieces. You want to make sure that you're able to protect so that you can make sure that your Girly Dollies stay on the board while also generating value using Mega Flare. So you always want to be sure that you find at least these 3 pieces and you have a recipe for success. This is an absolute Gurgrit killer. We have made this deck specifically to guard against Gurgrit and other high value engine decks, but this hard loses to any kind of retire or bind, so you always want to be sure to play your board around instead of a way that you keep your Girly Dollies safe. So thank you for watching.